Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends. This is your friend and astrologer Irfan once more with you, and today's topic is about your career, your job, your livelihood and your gains and your multiple resources in your life. We get many thoughts in our mind and many anxieties in our mind about our livelihood, about a career, about a job, and whether we will do well in life, and what is our future, whether we will have security, whether we will have enough money. And I also get questions where people ask me, do I have the ability to become, or the horoscope to become a billionaire? Can I really be a billionaire in my life? Can I have my own private jet? And can I have my own big bungalow? Can I do foreign travels? And all sorts of questions. I also get questions about, can I take this particular job? Which is my best time for my career? Can I make this career move? And so on. So this video is for all of you to be able to look deeper within your horoscope and analyze for yourself which is the best phase for you as per as your career is concerned, your job is concerned, your livelihood is concerned. Now, this particular shloka tells you that without any effort, you will not gain sort of life. You will not progress. So livelihood will not be given to you without effort. And that's why this is important that you put in effort. Without effort, nothing will come. Parashar says in the Parashara Horashastra, one of the very important books in astrology, and Parashara, who is considered as the father of astrology, he says, Yatha Huken Chakren Rathasya Nagatir Bhaved Tadvat Purushkare Vina Deva Na Siddhyati, which means the chariot cannot move with just a single wheel. Similarly, without human efforts, destiny single-handedly will not bear fruit. Which means that if you are dependent only on planetary position, but you are not ready to put in any effort, then even your good yogas or good planetary positions cannot help you. So effort along with good planetary support is required for success. Now, why do I use the term livelihood more than job or career? Because your livelihood every time may not come from a job or a career or even business. It could be because of various reasons. Your resources could also be coming in because you're born in a very rich family and you don't need to do much. You just need to show up at your dad's office or your dad's shop or your dad's business, and you may have only so much to do. So it all depends on where the resources are coming in from, where the luck is coming in from, where the gains are coming in from, where the money is coming in. So let's analyze what gives us an idea about our career, work, business, gains, and how affluent, wealthy or comfortable and security that we may have in life. So let's start with the basics first. Firstly, the most important aspect or the most important part of our horoscope is the Lagna. If the Lagna is very poorly afflicted, then obviously very less gains can be expected from such a horoscope, because your Lagna will also show the energy that you have, the life that you have within yourself, and the energy and the effort that you can do in any direction. So it's a combination of effort, energy, life, and your willingness, your pride to achieve, so that, and your own character, your value system to be able to go and achieve and do well in life. So your Lagna is very important. The second house, which is very important in terms of your career, your work, or the karma bhumi, is the 10th house. So for any career, work, or even business related analysis or inferences, the 10th house becomes very, very important. But just the Lagna and the 10th house on its own are not able to give you results. The results always come from a combination. And these combinations which give you the ultimate success, and not just one placement or one yoga. People ask me, do I have a Raj Yoga? Do I have a Lakshmi Yoga? So a little bit about the yogas also we will talk about. So first, you need a combination of horoscope events or placements which give you a result. And second, yogas combined with those planetary placements and yoga and combinations to give you better results. So Lagna is important, the 10th house is very important, the 10th house being the house of your karma. Now one of the important things is also the four attributes that you have to any horoscope, which is the dharma bhav, the artha bhav, the kama bhav and the moksha bhav. So the artha bhav is important for any material gains that you get. If anywhere your artha bhavs are affected, including your lagna, then there is a problem. The 10th house is also the house of artha. So and the third house, or let me put it this way, the kama house is also the houses of your aspiration, your wishes, your desires. So your kama bhavas are also very important, which are 3, 6 and 11 in the horoscope. So whenever the kama and the artha bhavs combine with the karma bhav, which is the 10th house, and the house of gains like the 2nd, 11th and also to some extent 5th and 9th, only then that you get results. So let's take a few cases. So for example, if you have a good 10th house, then you can say the career may be very good. But for a career to be good, you need to also have a good 6th house, which is the house of service, because the 6th house is the 9th house to the 10th house. So the gains of the 10th house come from the house which is 9th to the 10th, which here is the 6th house. So if the 10th house and the 6th house is very good, then you can say that you will have a good luck or good fate in career, in doing service, in doing a job. So in this case, where you have a strong 10th house and a strong 6th house, then you can move towards doing service or doing a job where it's okay to work under people and get gains from there. However, it's also important that you also have a support from the 3rd house of effort. Because if the 3rd house is weak or the lagna is weak, the energy and the effort to do, to put in hard work to get gains will be less. Especially in a work environment, in a job environment, we know if you don't put in hard work, then we get lesser results. We will not be able to compete, because the 6th house is also the house of competition, and in service or in a career, we need to compete with other people, right? Now the other part which we need to look at is that how much of a gain that we can get. Now we all know that the 2nd house to any house is the gains of that house. So the 11th house will give you gains of the 10th house, because the 11th house is the 2nd house to the 10th. But the other thing is the 11th house, the 6th house is 8th house to the 11th house, right? So if the 6th house is the 8th house to the 11th house, which means that losses or obstacles in your career can also come from the 11th house. So, which means that larger network, larger society or larger organizations may not give you as much gains as much as your own effort will do, or the external network, the extended network or your social circle may not be as helpful to you in your career as much as your own effort, where the 6 is concerned. So if your 11th house is also good, then it is easier for you to rise up, because then your bosses, your network, your clients, everybody else will help you in getting rising higher in your career. So the 10th and the 11th are very important. But if you're doing business, then the 11th house is very important. The 3rd house becomes more supremely important, because if you have your own business, you need to work harder, you need to put in more efforts. So there, if you're doing business, then the 11th house, the 3rd house become very important, and also the 7th house, because the 7th house is the house of daily wages and also partnerships. So in business, generally you will have some or the other partnerships with some client or vendor relation with somebody, or a partner which you may have in business. So those also become very important. Now, 2 houses which show how well you're doing from a financial perspective are the second and the fourth. And more importantly, the second house, because second house shows the earning which comes in the house. Why? Because the second is also the fifth house to the 10th house. So it is also a lucky house for the 10th house or house of gains. So the gains of the 10th house will also come from your second house, or the earnings and the savings that you accumulate after whatever expenses you have, whatever is left is your savings, is your gains, is your income. So if your second house is afflicted, then you may not have a good strong income or regular income. If your fourth house is good, then you will make property, you will get cars, you will get more affluence, you will get comforts. So how well you are doing in your career or in your business will also be seen from the fourth house. How much money you are using to build resources, to make investments, to get more affluence. Because fourth house is affluence, it's your luxuries, it's your material comforts. Whereas the second house is of income coming in and income saved. So these houses become very, very important. Now at any given point of time, the condition of the fifth and the ninth house are show overall gains in your life and how lucky you are, how fate supports you and helps you. So these houses and condition of these houses are also very important. However, for service, the 10th, the 6th house and the 3rd house are important, apart from the 5th and 9th as supporting houses to, or the supporting pillars to gains. For business, the 11th, the 3rd, of course, 7th are important. But to see overall gain, the 2nd and the 4th.
This shloka says, Purva Janam Janita Puravid Kamadeva Miti Sampuch Shakte Udme Tradupar Jitachvai Vanchita Falati Neva Kevalam. Which means, even the good fortunes earned in the previous birth will not be fructuous without efforts in the current birth. To fulfill one's desires through destiny, some livelihood is essential, for mere destiny cannot grant fruition of desires. So sage Yagnavalka is saying that if you don't put in effort, don't think that you will get efforts or good results or the good fortune that you have earned even in the previous birth, in the current one, because your planetary positions that you have in the current life are based on what good karma you have done in the earlier life. So if you don't put in effort in this life, even the good planetary positions given to you by virtue of your good work that you have done or good karma that you are carrying forward will not help you. So putting in effort in the direction or in the right direction is very important.
Now, which area you are working in which area you need to go, depends on the strongest house in your horoscope. I made a video around that also, which is the best phase of your life and where you can get best gains from. One of my earlier videos is that, so I suggest you see that video as well. So which area you will move to, in which area of your life you can do very well. If you are doing business, which business industry you can do very well, which industry you can do very well. Should you go in technology? Should you be in manufacturing? Should you go in commodities? Should you go in in food items? That all will be seen from which is the strongest house and which is the strongest placement. If you have a very strong second house, for example, then your business can be around food items, because the second house is also the house of food. And if you have a strong Aries energy connected to it, then you can have your own restaurant, because you are cooking food in a restaurant and on fire. So fire becomes very important, fire becomes very supportive. You can have your own bakery, for example, if the second house is strong, along with Mars. If Mars is not strong, then you may have agriculture related to food items. You can do business in commodities of food items, where you have a wholesale business in food item, but you don't cook it. So there is no fire involved, especially if Mars is poor, and if you're running a restaurant or a bakery, then it becomes a problem. But if the second house is strong and you want to get into agriculture or food products, which you just buy and sell, or you're a wholesale dealer, without using fire as the basis of the business, then it is good, because if Mars is weak.
But Mars is strong, then you may think on those lines. So for different areas, for example, if your 8th house is strong, then you can get into oil, you can get into metals, you can get into all that which is hidden or virtual or extracted from the ground. You can do agriculture also from the 8th house, especially in those items which you extract from the ground. You can do metals also, because metals come from extracting from the ore from the earth, and then you extract from there. You can do oil, because oil is also from underground. You can also get into a career or work related to insurance, because untoward incidents of the 8th house are connected to insurance. And taxation, because audits, delving inside and taking out information is auditing, is your taxation. So you get into taxation, you can get into insurance, because 8th house is also other people's money. So you can get into financial wealth management if your 8th house is very strong. So basis which house is strong, you can also look at where you need to, which direction you can go. If your 9th house is very strong, you can get into travel and tourism, because the 9th house is the house of long distance travel, and it is also Jupiter's own natural house. And if Jupiter is strong, then you can get into an airline, you can become a pilot, because Jupiter also rules the airwaves. And if Rahu is there in the 9th house, even then it's very good combination, because Rahu also denotes foreign areas, foreign lands. Rahu also denotes technology or the airwaves or space, for example. So you need to see connections and combinations. So you need to see combinations of the 10th house, the 6th house, and also the 2nd house and the 3rd house, for example, for career. And you can also look at which area you can move in basis which is the strongest house and which is the strongest area in your chart. For business also, you need to look at which is the strongest area and you do business there. But you also need to look at how strong is your 11th house, because 11th house is the house of gains, and it is also an Upachaya house which gives you gains over a period of time. That is also how you use your network, your extended circle, and the world at large is giving you gains. That's why the 11th house is very important for business.
Priya Bhushan Surup Subhago Dakshe Shinishu Mati Mangsha Krit Nikash Yasat Yaru Gadaksh Sukitaksha Bharanishu, which means if at the time of a person's birth the moon be in the star Bharani, he will carry out his purpose to the end, will be truthful, free from malady, and will be clever and happy. So it is also important that your right planetary positions support you to be able to carry out the purpose of your life and the goals that you have fixated for yourself. And if you have good planetary positions, such as the moon being in the nakshatra of Bharani, then the person will be truthful, he will be free from any challenges, and he will be clever and he will be happy.
Now the other thing which you also need to look at is the condition of the Dustanas, the 6th, 8th and 12th, how well they are placed, because the 8th house is the house of obstacles. So if there is any sharing of energy between, say, the 10th and the 8th house, and there is any malefic involved, then you need to be careful not to choose a career where it is related to 8th house, because you will have sudden obstacles, sudden events will spoil your career. So you need to be careful. If your 12th house is strong, with a strong malefic, then you may get into extra expenses, and during the dashas of those of that sign Lord, you will have high expenses, you will have sudden expenses, sudden losses. You may have lawsuits, because the 12th house is also the house of courts, police stations. So these combinations have to be looked into strongly to denote where you are heading. If your 5th house is strong, then you may get into speculative business. You may invest into short-term and long-term investments. You may look at short-term investments which you can extract and where easy liquidity is possible. You can also invest money in stocks, shares, investing in education, investing in books, because the 5th house is also the house of education. If your 9th house is strong, then you can also look at having your educational institutes, you're having your MBA institutes, higher education, colleges. You may have 5th house will give you stronger results related to schools. So you need to look at 4th house very strong, means you can get into real estate. So you need to choose your career, you need to choose your line. You also need to look at whether you need to move into a career or job or into business. So if you're thinking that my planetary placements will give me gains and will give me good career, then it will not happen. Without effort, you will not get the gains. So friends, this is your friend Irfan signing off today with the request that you please like this video, please share it, please subscribe to this channel, and also press the bell icon so that you get to know when my new video is coming. And if you need a consultation from me because you need a query answered according to your career, which line you need to choose, which is your strongest area, which direction you can move in, which dasha is good dasha for you, when you need to pull yourself back, where you need to add any education, any certifications to move higher in life, when should you make a move, when should you hold back, for all these questions to be answered, please reach out to me to my email ID given in the links below. And till we meet for some other time, this is your friend and astrologer taking your permission. Ciao.